Mindfulness can trap you, and when it does, you'll have to break free from it if you ever really want to see what meditation can do for you. I'm Jeffrey. I run a meditation school called Finding Ground. I've been practicing and teaching for 30 years, and I've kind of seen it all. In this video, we'll look at 2 traps that pop up in meditation even when you don't know they're happening. Now, mindfulness is a good thing, but if you don't know what it is and what it does, you could end up spinning your wheels for years going nowhere. It happened to me, and I'm not the only one. For years, I stuck to a routine of mindfulness practice, and it seemed like I was getting some small returns, some increased stability, nothing groundbreaking. But if life happened, if I had to take a few days off, I'd lose ground. I'd come back to the cushion, and there I'd be with the same distracted mind as when I started meditation. Ground zero. 1 step forward and 1 step back. If your meditation is like this, I have some good news for you. You're caught in a trap of mindfulness practice. But why is that good? Because as soon as you free yourself from it, you'll leap into a far more fulfilling practice. But if you don't free yourself from it, it's not going to solve itself, and you'll probably lose momentum. And then it's easier not to practice at all. And that's a shame, because meditation practice gets so much better the longer you keep it in your life. It's something that you do for the long term, so you got to do it for a long time. So if you're in a trap, let's work it out, get you out of that trap, and get you on the real path of development. But first, why do people take up meditation? Usually because they can no longer live with their distracted mind. It's draining them. It's consuming their life. They hear about meditation and hope it'll solve these problems. If this is you, you may wonder, well, will it solve these problems? Yes, if you do it right. To do it right, you need to know where you're going and what will get you there. Meditation is a way to go from point A to point B. Point A is where we are before we get to point B. That should be obvious. But what is point A and what is point B? Well, point A is the distracted, atrophied mind that we all have before we become strong through meditation. Point B is a strong and vital mind that doesn't wander, that doesn't give in to distraction or confusion. We all start at point A. As soon as we take up the journey of meditation, though, we step onto the path to point B. So the first step is a step away from point A, the wandering mind of distraction, and toward point B, the consolidated, clear, and stable mind of non-wandering. Point A doesn't know why it feels the way it does or what it can do about it. It has no road ahead, no vision, because it's in a repeating pattern. It's like an eternal Groundhog Day. Point B has seen and understood itself. It sees the road ahead, and it's gaining more and more strength and confidence as it goes along. And point B is the beginning of an incredible journey. Mindfulness, what it is. The problem we face is that we often start out not understanding that meditation is a journey that we walk step by step. Journeys involve making an effort to get somewhere, and meditation is like that. It isn't something that happens to us, it's something that we do. And it isn't something that goes nowhere, it definitely takes us somewhere. Meditation works by building the part of our mind that has become weak. This part is known as mindfulness, and it has 3 functions, all of which are weak and feeble at point A. So when it's healthy, mindfulness knows what it needs to pay attention to, and that's called its object. Then it has the ability to direct and sustain attention on that object. And finally, it has the strength to resist distraction from that object. It can't be captivated by something else. Unhealthy mindfulness can't perform these functions consistently at all. For example, it doesn't know what it wants to or needs to pay attention to. It's haphazard, and it operates through guesswork. It also can't hold itself to anything for very long. And it has almost no capacity to protect itself from distraction. It can be sidetracked easily. When these three functions are weak, our mind wanders and our life is brought down through distraction. And that, friends, is point A. Before we have begun meditation, I call it the wandering mind of distraction. But when these three functions are strong, we unlock an amazing power within us that stabilizes all aspects of our mental health. This is point B, the first milestone we reach through meditation. I call it the mind of non-wandering. So this brings us to the first trap, and that's not understanding point A. Meditation is proactive. Proactive is the opposite to passive, and meditation is the opposite of passive. Passive is what created the problem of wandering mind, and wandering mind is a state of passivity. Not standing up to distraction causes us to collapse and atrophy. We get progressively weaker and more feeble, and the spiral is downward. In order to stand up to wandering mind and reverse it, well, you have to know how that is done. And most of us don't realize that there's a body of knowledge that instructs this. But we didn't have easy access to this body of knowledge because we don't learn it in school. We don't learn it from our parents, and we sure don't learn it in the newspapers. So naturally, we don't learn how to reverse wandering mind. And that leaves us with only one possibility. We go along with it, and that leads to weakness and confusion and passivity. But now we're taking up meditation, and meditation is the body of knowledge that shows us how to overcome wandering mind. It helps us build strength and clarity by showing us specifically what to do and how to do it. So the first trap is not understanding that meditation is a proactive journey that directly builds strength into areas of our being that have become weak and feeble through wandering mind. It's a trap because it goes nowhere other than back into wandering mind. It's also a trap because it tricks you. You think you've taken up meditation and that you're somehow going to improve your life. But if you aren't being proactive in the right way, you aren't doing anything that can solve your problem. You're just wasting time. You're kind of imitating an actual meditator. Talk about imposter syndrome. There are people all over the world right now sitting on cushions in meditation posture. Some of them are actually meditating, moving from point A to point B. But lots and lots of them are just sitting on cushions. There's no actual meditation journey happening, but they don't know this, and that's why it's a trap. The second trap is not understanding point B. Once you realize that meditation involves effort and a new set of powerful skills, you also start to appreciate the reality of a point B. You see that even your early effort to apply these skills moves you a little bit in a new direction. Your effort gives you a return. There's feedback, signs of forward movement. You see clearly that meditation isn't a vague process of just relaxing or just emptying your mind. Those only direct you back into wandering mind. Instead, it's a tangible journey to a stage of development that will be new to you. You're actually going somewhere, and you can feel it. This somewhere is called a milestone or a stage of meditation. The second trap is simply not understanding that meditation is a journey of milestones. Every session of meditation moves you along a journey toward your next milestone. The early milestones are concerned with healing and strengthening and becoming clear-headed and sane. The later milestones are about becoming wise and compassionate, free from suffering and fear. The first trap prevents you from understanding the reality of the meditative journey. When you're in the first trap, you're also in the second trap. You couldn't possibly conceive of the milestones that are waiting for you to reach them because point A doesn't even realize there is a point B. Not understanding the milestones means that you don't aim your practice at them, and so you never reach them. Remember, meditation isn't magic, it's discovery. You make the effort to uncover, and then you discover. Or to put it plainly, the milestones don't come to you, you come to them. You reverse the force of wandering mind, traveling a path that moves you toward these milestones naturally. It takes involvement, engagement. It takes steering your ship. There's the proactive practice of meditation, and there's the knowledge of the milestones and the pathway to them. Let's look at the first milestone. At first, you couldn't hold your attention to your breath for more than 10 seconds, which is about average for most of the new students I work with. 10 seconds is the maximum staying power for their mindfulness at the beginning, which means that by 11 seconds, they're back in their wandering mind. And that might take several minutes for them to even pop out of wandering mind and start meditating again. And that brings us to the frank reality of how inefficient our early meditation sessions are. Now, this is embarrassing, but it isn't bad news. It's just the truth, and everyone starts here. So, let's say you, a beginner, just meditated for 25 minutes, which is a good standard session, but every minute really only had 10 seconds of mindfulness. So you blocked out 25 minutes for meditation, but then you only meditated for 10 seconds at a time, and you did that 25 times. So that's a little more than 4 minutes out of 25 minutes. You spent just under 17% of your time meditating and 83% of your time distracted into wandering mind. This is reality. And this is normal, and this is just fine. You're starting from point A, wandering mind, which means 10 seconds worth of strength at a time before you collapse and wander. But point B? Well, point B is called non-wandering, and it means that if you block out 25 minutes, you're on the breath for 25 minutes. Non-wandering is a milestone. It's a stage of meditation, and it's the first real milestone you hit once you leave point A. It takes time and it takes effort, but it's worth every second. Millions upon millions of people have done this over thousands of years. It's a well-known process, and you can trust it. If you want to know more about the milestones of meditation and the clear journey of getting from point A to point B, just reach out through the link in the description and I'll send you my Meditation 101. It's a free 5-day course that will feed your curiosity about this amazing journey. And if you want to hear something even more important about the journey, watch this video next.